Hi, this is Britta LaFont from BrittaLaFont.com. Today I'm talking to you from the Phoenix Airport, Sky Harbor. I'm on my way to Declare Conference. This is actually Wednesday, and I'll be posting this for Friday, but I just wanted to be sure that I got it out on time since I've been having a little trouble with that lately. And I figure once I get to the conference, it's going to be kind of tricky. I wanted to just go ahead and tell you we're doing lesson 24, Living in Peace, and this is Elizabeth George's Putting on a Gentle and Quiet Spirit. So we're going to jump right into the lesson, which is 1 Peter 5, verses 12 through 14, and this is the closing of the whole book. By Silvanus, our faithful brother, as I consider him, I have written to you briefly, exhorting and testifying that this is the true grace of God in which you stand. She who is in Babylon, elect together with you, greets you, and so does Mark, my son. Greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace to you all who are in Jesus Christ. The thing I thought was really cool, which I'm just going to say at the beginning so I don't forget, is she says that this Mark that he mentions is the same Mark that is the Mark who wrote one of the Gospels. And that this Mark, who never met Jesus, only knew Jesus through Paul, was able to retell the Gospel, retell the story of Jesus' life and death and resurrection because of all that he learned from Peter. So she calls Mark's Gospel Peter's Gospel, which is really cool. I had never heard that. So I want to share that with you. And okay, so the things that jumped out at me about this, and this is going to be quicker than usual, were the idea that two things. One is Peter was writing to people that he never knew, in the same way that the internet connects us to people we never know. So, for instance, I'm talking to you right now. You and I may not have met. I do have some friends that follow, but you and I may not have met and may never meet. You may connect with friends of friends through Facebook or somebody else on a blog, and you may have a really large church where you see your pastor, but you don't know him personally, you don't know him well. But Peter's demonstrates that ministry is not limited by the relationships we're able to have in this limited kind of world that we live in. And so the gospel is able to transcend these relationships and these boundaries. And so I think that's really cool because we can relate to that even now, thousands of years later. The other thing that she talks about is the peace that Peter leaves at the end. He says, greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace to you all who are in Christ Jesus. She reminds us that Jesus said at the end of his life, and we see it in the Gospel of John, Jesus says, my peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. And so she reminds us that peace is available to us, not because of our circumstances, but because of our relationship with Jesus. And so I think that is the greatest encouragement that we can have. And I want to remind you that when we get into those, and remind myself too, when we get into those circumstances where we don't feel like we're at our best, or maybe we feel kind of tossed about, or we start to feel like we're losing our way, the way to stay connected and to stay at peace is to reconnect with the Lord. Make sure that we keep our eyes fixed on him and not on the waves, not on the circumstances. And so I would just encourage you that Elizabeth George tells us that we are able to have an internal peace because of our relationship with the Lord, that he can steady us. But that also allows us, when we have that internal peace, it also allows us to have interpersonal peace in relationships. Maybe not the kind of peace that you might like, but maybe where the peace that you're carrying with you can keep you calm in a circumstance where maybe there's an argument or a difficulty or something you could overlook. The Lord will give you the peace that you need to stay steady in that situation. and not contribute to making it any worse. So, you know, Jesus didn't promise that everything would be perfect. In fact, right before the verse I read you in John, he said, there will be trouble in this world. So that's for sure, because we live in a fallen world. But the I guess the hope that we have is, for one, we have an eternal hope that um, we will not be forever in a fallen world. And the second hope that we have is that while we're here, we're not alone. We're never alone, because Jesus is always with us, and the peace that he gives is always accessible by just keeping our eyes fixed on him. So next week is a wrap up, and we'll be finishing up this book before you know it. So I hope you have a super weekend, and I hope that if you have any situations that challenge you in the area of peace, that you can remember to keep your eyes fixed on the Lord and your relationship with him. Think about his goodness and his love for you, and take a deep breath. So anyway, have a great weekend. Thanks.